Good morning. This is Yilda, Children's Librarian over at the Gulfport Public Library, and this is Early Literacy Tuesday Tip. As you may remember, a couple of weeks ago, I said I was going to move from Mondays back to Tuesdays after our summer reading program is over. Our summer reading program has ended, so now we are back to Tuesdays, and I will be continuing sharing tips on early literacy and focusing on the 5 reading skills that your child will need once they enter school, which is the 5 skills are read, write, talk, sing, and play. I will constantly keep going back and forth into these 5 early literacy skills that are very crucial and very important in your child's reading achievement. But today I want to talk a little bit about reading, and the child's interest in reading is an important predictor of later reading achievement. Reading together helps children understand how the stories are organized, that there's a beginning, there's a middle, and then there's an end. So as you read the story, you understand there's an introduction to what's happening. There's the beginning of a particular story, the middle of things that are going on within the story, and then you have the end, which is the conclusion or the final result, or just a happy ending of what's happening in the story, what has happened in the story. Reading together also increases your child's vocabulary and background knowledge. So as you're reading the story with your child, there may be 1 or 2 words that are new for them, and you can repeat the word, explain the word to them. They may even ask you what the word is, or even actually ask your child to repeat the word back to you so they can understand how to pronounce the word, and then explain what the word is, what's the definition of the word. Also, reading together encourages imaginative thinking. So as you're reading the story with your child, you're looking at the pictures, you're looking at the words, and your child is processing what is happening in the story within their mind. And also, reading together helps your child learn new words, as I said before, that they never heard before. So maybe you have the word violet, and maybe your child has never heard the word violet before. You can explain to your child the word violet. Can you say the word violet? The violet is another word for the color purple. It looks purple. Can you say purple? So ask your child to repeat back the word that they heard. As you're reading some strategies you can do with your child, sometimes you may end up reading the same book more than once. The child may come to you, want story time, and they will bring you the same book they brought to you 5 times during the course of the day, or every time when it's time for sleep, or when it's story time, whatever time that you want to sit with your child and read. If your child brings that same book to read for bedtime, you're going to read the same book for bedtime. If your child wants to read it for a quiet time, reading time, and it's the same book, you're going to read the same book. There's nothing wrong with your child favoring a particular book. So if your child wants to read that book again and again, guess what? You will be reading that book again and again. Also, when you're reading with your child, change roles. Have your child become the storyteller and read to you. For example, as you're reading this book that I read a couple of weeks ago, The Girl and the Dinosaur, you can have your child see what's happening in the picture and ask your child, what's happening in this picture? What do you see that's happening here? You can read the story once and then maybe come back to it another day, and then just have your child tell you what's happening in the story from what they can recall from when you were reading it to them. And ask your child, what's happening here? What is the little girl doing? What do you see here? What is this? And they'll say if you explain to them what a dinosaur is, they'll say it's a dinosaur. It's a dinosaur, but what you see, what is this? And it's bones. It's the bones of the dinosaur. And then you just go to the next page and ask your child again, what's happening here? What's going on in this part, in this page? And your child will explain what's happening from what they see in the picture. So you can have your child tell the story back to you. It may not be exactly what you read in the book. That's fine. You want your child to develop and understand what's happening in the images, remember what the story was said, and kind of repeat it back in their own way. It's kind of so that way you can see where their comprehension is, how they comprehended the story as it was read to them. And then you can also use books, and about certain topics. Like if you want to get books on dinosaurs, get a bunch of books about dinosaurs and then read to your child books about dinosaurs. Have like a theme based on just a particular topic. Dinosaurs. Bring a bunch of books about dinosaurs. Find a lot of books, of picture books on dinosaurs and stories about dinosaurs. There's a lot of stories about dinosaurs. There's alphabet dinosaurs. There's number dinosaurs. There's stories like, for example, this one, The Girl and the Dinosaur. There's a bunch of stories about dinosaurs. You can make it a theme with them so they can understand and see different topics and subjects about dinosaurs. And I also encourage reading nonfiction books. Please do not shy away from nonfiction books for preschoolers. You can still read a nonfiction book to your preschooler. You don't, obviously the pages of nonfiction books have more text on it. You can touch on some things, what's happening in the page, and have a conversation with your child of what's happening. You can read nonfiction to your preschooler. And what I mean nonfiction is the books that are informational. I have read nonfiction books to preschoolers more than once. So you do not shy away from nonfiction. It's really a good idea to read nonfiction as well. So you can pull in some nonfiction books about dinosaurs and have conversations about dinosaurs. And also after you read to your child, take it a step further in developing their learning and in enhancing their learning. Have them draw what happened in the story. Give them a piece of paper and some crayons and say, can you, let's draw about the girl and the dinosaur. Can you draw me something that happened in the story that you liked? And have your child draw the picture. And there you are developing your child's other early literacy skill, which is writing, which is another skill that they need, is learning how to hold a pencil, crayon correctly once they go into school. So this is you're developing another skill on top of the reading. You're developing their writing skills. And you're developing also play, because they're drawing, they're thinking, they're going to draw something fun that's happening in the story that they read with you and that they liked. So this is a good thing you can do. And then you can ask questions as you read to your child. Like, who is this about? What's happening? Like when you open the page and you ask them, as I said before, what's happening here? What is happening on this page? What do you see is happening here with the children? And let your child tell you what's happening. And then your child will say, oh, they're playing. These kids are riding a dinosaur. And I said, yes, that's right. They're riding a dinosaur. Can you tell me what color is the dinosaur? Oh, the dinosaur is red. Oh, okay, cool. And what's happening over here? What are these kids doing over here? What are these kids? Have your child tell you what's happening in the story. So you can take it a step further as you read the text, and then take it a step further as far as looking at the images and have them tell you back what's happening in the story. And ask questions. Where, when, and how. Where did the little girl and the dinosaur go? And how did they get to this place? How did they get to this magical island in the air? And who went there? And how did they get there? And you, as you read the text, for example, you read here, up they climb, still higher, hearts beating, boom, boom, fast, so they reach a mountain summit and stop for breath at last. And all the clouds part, and then they spy a land up in the sky, a magical moonlit island where night and dreams fly. So then you would ask them, okay, so how are they going to get here? What do you think they're going to do? What do you think they're going to do to get to this land in the sky? Before you even go to the next page, have your child predict what might happen. And then you read the next page, and then you say, with a mighty leap of faith, our brave dinosaur takes flight. And then the pair are soaring through the dreamscape of the night, swooping, gliding, flying to the land up in the air. And then you ask your child, what's happening here? What are they doing? You're having this conversation with your child. And then, additionally, you can, on top of subject books on a certain particular subject, also pick books on events that are happening in your child's life. Like if they're going to preschool for the first time, they're going to the dentist for the first time, getting a new pet, visiting the zoo, or moving. There are many, many books, picture books, with different topics that you can share with your child that are happening in their lives. So that way they can associate what's happening in the book is happening in their own lives. Or maybe they have their own questions and concerns of what's happening and they don't know how to ask. So the book will help them understand what's happening. For example, the dentist, maybe they're going to the dentist for the first time and they don't know what to expect at the dentist. Maybe they're fearful of the dentist. I know I am very fearful of the dentist. So you can bring out some books about the dentist and then read to your child about the dentist to have them understand what happens when they go to the dentist's office. And getting back to another book that I have in mind, you can actually do one in the topic of where, when, and how. When you're asking the child what's happening in the story, try to get books with no words. For example, this book, Chalk, by Bill Thompson. This book here, there are no words. It's complete, just pictures. You can ask your child as you go through the book, what's happening in this story? What do you see is happening here? What's going on? How are the children playing? Or what do you see is going on in their faces? Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they surprised? What's going on? What is she doing here? And your child will say, oh, she's writing. What is she writing with? What is she using to write? And where is she writing? So you can continue with the story with the wordless pages and show them, have them tell you what's happening in the page. And again, these wordless books, there's no right or wrong. Your child can be as imaginative and as creative as they wish in this story. So these are also fun to use, wordless books that don't have any text on them. So have your child tell you the story back. And this is great. And then you can, again, at the end of going through the book, you can ask your child, okay, let's draw what happened in the story. Or this is what happened in the story at the end. Let's draw what might happen if the story ended differently. Or maybe draw a continuing of the story. You know, there's a lot of things you can do with books and reading. Sorry. So this is just a general discussion or share about reading and the importance of reading and what you can do with your child. And of course, one of the early literacy skills that your children will need upon entering preschool. So as my message to you parents, as I always say to you, you are your child's first teacher, and your child will always remember all the times they've had learning and growing with you. And on that note, be safe, be well, take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.